Who is the rudest celebrity or influencer that you've met? What happened? You guys submitted your burning questions for me, and I'm going to answer pretty much all of them. One thing a lot of you guys wanted to know about was what was my job before I was a full-time influencer, and also what I did in college, like what I studied. If you went to college, what did you major in, and then what is or was your day job? Yes, I did go to college. I went to school at Ithaca College, which is in upstate New York near Cornell and Cortland. It's on one of the Finger Lakes. It's on Cayuga Lake or Seneca Lake. I think it's Cayuga. I was originally going as a bioscience major because I truly thought I wanted to be a doctor. I thought I was gonna be in a lab coat doing experiments, all that jazz, and spoiler alert, that was not the case. We went up to Ithaca College to tour the school for the first time, and I was still going there. I was undecided and I wasn't sure what I was gonna do, but it was originally down as like sciences. But as we were touring around the open house where they showed you all of the different schools that were on campus, from communications to education to physical therapy, I was going to every single booth to see like what I wanted to do. And the one that piqued my interest was called television and radio. Television and radio essentially was what it is. You were learning about the television studios, the radio stations barely, like you barely learned radio. And I got to talking to one of these students, and she was telling me about how she was going to be an intern at the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, how she was an intern at a bunch of other shows like Rachel Ray, and it got me so excited. I ended up majoring in television and radio, but the major has now recently changed to television and digital media because obviously social media, everybody's doing things digitally. So that's what my major was in. For my day job, so my day job had changed. I originally got a job in New York City at what was Viacom, but is now Paramount, obviously, because there's a bunch of things that happened. And I was a coordinator on the digital ad sales side and content. From there, I was promoted to a producer of MTV Digital, which was so fun. Basically, my job was to watch Jersey Shore, Geordie Shore, which is the UK version, all the dating shows. I got to watch everything and pick and choose what would go on social to make people excited about the shows. And then I kind of got miserable, moved to LA at the time, and I really didn't like that job anymore. So I transferred out to Paramount. My job was a producer, editor, and host for all of their red carpet segments for a podcast. I was pitching content daily. I was running social channels. The job was originally to run social for a reality show called Next Influencer. The show did awful. It just did not excel. So because of that, I started to take the job into my own hands. I started doing celebrity reporting, red carpet interviews, etc., etc. Fast forward to today, someone asked, how did you become an influencer and why did you become an influencer? The how, I slipped and fell into it. I started posting back before the pandemic even started, and I went viral. I refused to be a one-hit wonder, so I kept posting and posting and posting because I wasn't gonna have a viral moment and just disappear. I was like, I'm gonna make this a job because this is like entertaining and this is fun to me, and I also love talking to people. That's probably the how, is that I just kept going. Why did I become a full-time influencer? Because I quit my job actually at Paramount back in March, and everybody's like, well, why did you do that? I was not feeling creatively fulfilled by my job at Paramount. I didn't feel like everything I was doing when I went into work that day meant anything. It also didn't feel like it was mine. I didn't feel like I had any ownership over it. I didn't feel like I had any control over things like the questions I was asking, the content I was making. It's all about numbers when you work for a company, because at the end of the day, if they don't have numbers and they're not making money, what's the point of your job? Just wasn't happy. I also hated going into an office. I loved my team. Like, they were great. They were very supportive of me as a creator because that's how they found me. But I just didn't enjoy going into an office every day, being told what to do, sitting in a cubicle. I also looked at my finances and I was like, can you do this full time? Should you do this full time? And I took the leap. I took a leap of faith to see if I could be an influencer full time because I'm seeing other people do it. It makes them happy. And it was the best decision I've ever made. Like, it truly opened up so many doors for me. It made me so happy. Like, I'm still so happy. I wake up every day and I just get to do this. I get to come up with ideas for videos. I get to relax on my own time. I get to work with so many cool brands. Just so many amazing things have come from going full-time creator, which I was originally scared to do in the first place, but I'm so glad I did it. Somebody asked, who is your favorite celebrity that you have met? Now, I've met a good run of different celebrities, from A-list to B-list to C-list to even just like reality stars. I don't think I've ever, I wouldn't say I haven't had, I know I had a bad experience. We'll get to that. I think one of my favorite celebrities that I've ever met is, it's not because of how big of a fan I am of them, but it's because of the way they made me feel. And I had the best experience meeting Rita Ora. If you don't know who Rita Ora is, if you know the song Black Widow by Iggy Azalea, you know Rita Ora. She's in it. If you watch The Masked Singer, Rita Ora is in it. If you've watched Pokemon Detective, she's in it. Rita Ora is a multi-talented actress, musician, just star in general, and host. Like, she is truly incredible. So I got to actually go and make content with her. I got an email saying, hey, this is Rita Ora's team, essentially. We would love for Lewis to come to LA, which I live in LA, and meet Rita and make content with her because she's a huge fan, and she also would love help promoting her song. I believe she also had the movie coming out. I want to say was it Descendants? And I was like, hell yeah, I love Rita Ora. I'm a huge fan. I love all of her music. I love her music videos. I'm a stan. And I got to go to this hotel in LA, and I walk in and it's like gorgeous, and I'm meeting her team, and I heard her voice, and as she came in, her face like lit up when she saw me, and I was like, oh my God, like I don't get starstruck, but I think I was just very much in awe of her as a person. And she came, gave me a hug. She was beautiful. She was so lively and just like excited. She was like reciting videos that I've made in the past. She was like, oh my God, I love this video that you did. And it just made me realize like, oh, she watches me. She has seen me. She actually enjoys my content. And we got to make a guess the music video because she loved my Guess the Celebrity with Justin. So we did like her guessing obscure parts of her music videos. And of course she knew every single one. Sat and we chatted. We were just like drinking some soda. And then she actually invited me that night out into West Hollywood to one of the bars where she was performing. I got like a front row spot with a table with alcohol, and we got to watch her perform. And it was incredible. Like, she deserves the world. She was just so nice, so genuine. She even pointed at me and my boyfriend when we were watching her perform. She was like, yeah, like I was like, oh, I love her. I love her. It was one of the best experiences I've had. I've had many, but she was for sure in my mind one of my favorites. Have I ever felt pressured by my fame to change my opinion on pop culture just to fit in? No. Here's the thing about my platform, and I feel like I've talked about this a lot with you guys. I am true to who I am. If you met me in person, my opinions, my personality, everything I say would be exactly how it is online. One of my biggest pet peeves, which I know is another question in here, is that I don't like when I go to creator events, or I go to events in general, or I meet creators and they are not who they are on camera. Because sometimes, let's face it, some of your favorite like inspirational creators, your favorite nice creators, or your favorite beauty creators, whoever it is, people that you feel attached to, more times than not, they are sadly not that person. And that's just a sad fact. But for me personally, in the pop culture space, the things that I talk about in pop culture, whether it be music, movies, television, authors, if I ever talk about books, reality TV, those are my passions. Those are things I thoroughly enjoy, things I thoroughly have opinions on, and things that I can actually lend myself to push forward the narrative. I think a lot of other people will talk about things because of the hype or how cool they look, or because X TV show threw a huge event and they want to be invited to the next one. If I don't like a TV show, I don't care if I go to their event or not. I don't care how extravagant the event was, because if I don't enjoy the show, I'm not going to understand the event or understand activations that are going on. It just wouldn't make sense to me. But for me, a good example is I got to go to the Sonic blue carpet. It was a red carpet, but it was a blue carpet. And I am a Sonic stan. I used to play Sonic on Sega. I used to play all of the games on Nintendo DS, the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. Like, I was a Sonic stan when I was little. I still love Sonic now. I love the lore. I got to go to that carpet, and not only was I interviewing the cast and crew and the production teams of the movie, I was also so excited to see it come to life, because I know Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. I know Shadow. I would always play as Shadow in Sonic in the Olympic Games. I'm passionate about that, and I never had to fake it to get that invite or to be there, because I could lend myself very nicely to it. Same thing with music. I love music. I go to Coachella every single year because I love music. I love the artists that are performing, and I'm just passionate about new music. So no, I would never fake my opinion on pop culture or try to pretend that I like something that I don't. This is a two-parter because it's what is your favorite video you've ever done, and what's your favorite place you've ever traveled to? That is so hard, because my favorite video I've ever done was I actually did an ad for United Airlines back in 2023, I believe. In February for World Pride, United Airlines sent me and Justin to Australia for Sydney World Pride, and of course their Mardi Gras all at the same time. So not only did I get to make a video surprising Justin with a trip to Australia, but we also got to fly business class. We got to stay under the Sydney Harbor Bridge. We got to go to the Sydney Opera House. We got to do the parade for Mardi Gras. We got to see so many cool things, and all the content I made around that Australia trip was so fun, and just like, it was an unforgettable experience. I will never forget it. And shout out United Airlines. If you want to send me somewhere else, like, hook it up. But also another really great place that we traveled to, me and Justin got to go to Greece, Italy, and Malta for work. Actually, I got to go to a film festival in Malta, and they put us up in Malta. I got to experience a whole new country. Loved it. Wish I had more time because there was so much more to see. Malta was beautiful. Valletta was gorgeous. The streets that you got to walk on were in movies like Jurassic World. The Colosseum in Gladiator 2 was actually one of the forts in Malta that I got to go inside of for an award show. It was just so sick, and like the architecture and the people there are just so amazing. I love this question. Who is my favorite musical artist, and what is my favorite song by that artist? My favorite musical artist Actually, let me rephrase. I have multiple favorite artists, but then there's rankings to that. So my favorite artist of all time that I have loved since I was little, and when I was little, my other favorite artist wasn't really around yet. My favorite artist of all time is Beyonce, because when I was little, it was Destiny's Child, then it was Beyonce solo, and now it's Beyonce through and through. I love her, the way she makes me feel with her music, the way she makes me feel with her choreo, her concerts, her in general, like I've always loved and I've always been fascinated by. Probably should have realized that I was LGBTQ, like at some point if I was a fan of her and had the Destiny's Child CD as one of my Christmas presents when I was little, but I digress. My other favorite artists, and the reason I say they're my other favorite artists is because they give me the same feeling that Beyonce did my entire life, and that is Doja Cat. Favorite Doja Cat song of all time is Woman. It has been my top song for the past 4 years on Spotify Wrapped. She has also been my top artist on my Spotify Wrapped for 4 years in a row. I saw her at Coachella in 2023. I saw her at the Scarlet Tour. I saw her at Coachella 2022. And then Coachella last year. Obsessed with her, love her, her performance value, her stage presence, her personality, the music, love it. What's your favorite thing about your boyfriend and what's his favorite thing about you? Well, I know for a fact his favorite thing about me, and he says it to me all the time, was when he first met me and we were just friends, he loved my drive and determination, my work ethic, and how, I guess, put together I was with my job and with being an influencer, because I worked a job and was an influencer at the same time. And he was just like, wow, that's like so incredible that you're able to do both. And I'm kind of inspired by that, which made me feel really good because it was like cool to see someone be inspired by me who has now been my boyfriend for 3 years. My favorite thing about Justin is his endless love and support for me no matter what. He is truly my biggest cheerleader, my best friend. He only wants what's best for me. He is also like my creative producer sometimes, where he's like, you should do this. He's also just like my confidant. I can talk to him about anything. Like I love that man. We've been together for 3 years now, so we're locked in. On the topic of me and Justin, someone asked, if you and Justin were to ever consider marriage, who would propose? And this is not the first time I've been asked this question. I've been asked this by family, Justin's family, our friends, strangers, people I meet. They're like, who's proposing? And we have an answer. We had an answer from day one. I will be the one to propose to Justin. And it's not because of any roles that are being assumed, but to me, I had always gone into a relationship knowing that I want to propose. And in our relationship, actually a little bit, there's no roles, but I do treat Justin a little bit more like a princess than he would treat me. I'm more of like the brute and he's more of just like the princess. Like I call him princess all the time. I'm like, come on, princess. I always lock our door. I'm like, princess is in her castle. We had the conversation and we agreed that I would be the one to propose. I would be the one to get down on one knee. And yeah, that's the answer. What is my biggest ick? Hear me out on this one. I wouldn't say it's an ick, but there's something about the sound of someone's voice that will instantly turn me off. Listen. It's not that somebody's voice could sound ugly or sound bad, or if it sounds good or sounds pretty. Everybody has a different tone or something that could be pleasing to people's ears, but also could not be pleasing to people's ears. It's the same way with music. Like I like certain music, it sounds great to my ear. You might not like it. It might not sound good in your ear. The same thing with people's voices. Before I was dating Justin, one of my biggest criteria was if someone was talking to me, I would have to think about, oh my God, could I wake up every single day to this person's voice and be happy with that and be content with that? And for some people, it was a no, absolutely not. If I woke up to that person's voice every single day, I would drive my head through the sheetrock, through a wall, through a plate glass window. Like I would not be able to handle it. Not to say that they're not a great person, that they don't have a great personality, or that they're not attractive. I just personally could not get past the voice, their tone of voice, the way it sounded, or the way they spoke in general, which is not something they can control. It is just the way it sounds to my ear. And that is just the sad truth. But also, it would be a problem if I didn't recognize that people find my voice annoying. I literally get comments about it every day that they hate my voice, they can't believe I sound like this, how does one sound like that naturally, etc., etc. So I get it. I totally get it. It's something I can't control. It's something I was born with. But that is something I don't consider it an ick. I consider it a preference of voice, a preference of cadence. Don't be mad at me. Who is the rudest celebrity or influencer that you've met? What happened? One celebrity comes to mind and one influencer. The rude celebrity that I met was actually a celebrity I met while working a carpet, and I ended up interviewing them, and I was so excited to interview them. I would say I was like low-key kind of a fan of them. I wouldn't say like I don't fangirl. Definitely was excited. I think it'd be really cool for me to interview this person, and they were making it a point to get interviewed by everybody on the carpet, so I knew my time was coming. I had great questions for them. I saw how animated they were on the carpet. They were just really enjoying their time. But as they were getting farther and farther down the carpet closer to me, I noticed that their demeanor had changed, and it seemed like because they didn't know who some of us were, they weren't gonna treat us with the same respect. And spoiler alert, that that happened. The reason I know it was gonna happen too is because the person interviewing before me was one of my friends, and she looked so uncomfortable, did not look happy, like just very like defeated. And to me, I'm like, oh God, I'm next. This person comes up to get interviewed by me. I'm asking them questions, like I'm so excited. One thing I learned about interviewing is like, even if somebody is not giving you the energy, you always give the energy back regardless, because maybe it will feel something in them. And as I'm asking these questions, I can just tell they are not interested in me. They're interested in what's going behind the camera. They're looking past the camera. They're not even looking at me in my eyes. They're looking me up and down. And as I'm asking these questions, I know down the line, this person was giving other people long answers, long, good answers. I was getting one-word answers to very complex questions. And it didn't make me feel good. I was like, did I do something when they walked up? And Justin's like, no, they just like didn't want to talk, it feels like. But then they moved on to somebody next to me and they were like, oh my God, hey, John. I don't actually know the person's name. And they talked to that person for 10 minutes and was giving them crazy answers. And it just felt like this person did not want me to invade their career or their space. But it all made sense when I left. I was like, yeah, you know what? It makes sense that that person is not a nice person. I can totally see it. Now for the bad influencer encounter. Now this influencer I have met multiple times at multiple events. They're a huge influencer. A lot of people love them. I would like to say that they're a nice person, but I think from the few encounters that I've had, this person has a very clouded judgment on what reality is. And I think being an influencer has really messed them up, if that makes sense. But I don't know them. I never knew them before being an influencer, so who's to say? Basically, the first time I've ever met this influencer was actually at the Barbie premiere. So if you guys didn't know, a couple of years ago when Barbie and Oppenheimer were happening, I was actually invited to the Barbie premiere because I literally look like Ken. But I got to go, and this was a very select group of influencers that were invited. There was a ton of huge people that you probably know and love, but it was a lot of us that never are in the same room together. And we were getting to meet so many really cool people. We got to walk the carpet, we did our carpet thing, we got to talk to a lot of people on the carpet, and then from the carpet, all the influencers were then sent to a bar to basically party before the screening. So we all got to mix and mingle, drink and eat, and then we would go watch the movie. At this event, this one particular influencer was there, and I am mutuals or was mutuals with this person at the time. And I was talking to somebody that they are friends with, I guess, because they came up to the conversation and basically, first of all, cut me and Justin off because we were talking and hugged their two friends and were like, oh my God, hey, it's nice to see you. Like, love you guys. Like, what's going on? Whatever. And then they kind of turned to us after the fact and were like, oh, hi, I'm so-and-so. And I'm like, oh my God, I was like, we actually follow each other. It's so nice to actually see you in person. Like, it's like, that's so cool. Like, I didn't think we'd ever meet. And they go, yeah. And I get this weird, like, half hug. And then they didn't even look at Justin, like barely even said anything to him, which I was like, okay, that's rude. But right there, I'm like, whatever, maybe they're overwhelmed or anxious or whatever it is. We're in a circle basically of a conversation. And I can feel as the conversation continues, me and Justin are not being included in it by this influencer. And they're slowly turning their body to box us out of the conversation. And I look at Justin, I'm like, are we not supposed to be here? Like, what's the tea? And Justin's like, let's walk away. We end up walking away. And after we walked away, that whole experience made me feel like I wasn't good enough to be there. But I know if I'm invited and you're invited, I'm equally as welcome here as you are, regardless of your numbers versus mine, your bank account versus mine. It doesn't matter. I was invited and I'm welcome here, whether you would like it or not. This happened multiple times when I've seen this person at events, and it's because this person is also friends with some of my friends that are in the space. And every single time this person made me feel like lesser and lesser and lesser as they got bigger, bigger and bigger. And it made me feel like almost like I am now bothering them by being near them because they feel like I'm going to want to ask for a picture or something. And I'm like, I literally don't want a picture with you. And also, even if I took a picture of you, it would be worth nothing because no one really cares about you the way you think they do. Something like that really bothers me. It's because this is why people don't like influencers, because influencers try to act like they're something that they're not. And they do it to people who aren't influencers, but I'll have you know, they do it to people who are influencers too. This person acts like they are the sweetest angel on the internet, like they are the best person ever, and they are not. And that's that on that. And that's all I'm gonna say because I feel like I'm giving away too much. Oh my God, this was so fun. Thank you guys for submitting so many questions into the community tab. That was such a good idea. And I loved all your questions. You guys are so cool, so amazing. Make sure to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you're subscribed. I try to do videos every week for you guys. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when I'm posting videos. I love you guys. This was so fun, and make sure to tune in next week for my next video.